Cloning. For the longest time, it was just stuff you'd see in the movies. Pure science fiction. But now it's a scientific reality. And it's a reality that promises these incredible medical miracles while also tapping into some of our deepest fears. So today, we're going to separate the science from the sci-fi and figure out what's really at stake here.
Let's be honest. When you hear the word cloning, your mind probably jumps straight to the dramatic stuff, right? Armies of identical soldiers, a black market for organs, creating perfect designer humans. I mean, that's the story Hollywood loves to tell. But how much of that is real, and how much is just fear? Okay, so to really get a handle on this whole debate, we've got to start with the actual science. We need to cut through the noise. So let's rewind the clock a bit and see how this incredible, and yeah, pretty controversial, technology was actually born.
So the real game changer, the moment this all became real, was back in 1996 with Dolly the sheep. She was a huge deal, the very first mammal ever cloned from an adult cell. She basically proved that what was once just theory was now totally possible. And since Dolly, wow, scientists have cloned all kinds of animals. Cats, dogs, cows, they're even using it to try and help save endangered species.
So how on earth did they do it? How did they make Dolly? The process sounds like it's straight out of some futuristic lab, but the core idea behind it is, believe it or not, surprisingly straightforward. Let's break it down. Okay, the official name is somatic cell nuclear transfer, or SCNT for short. I know, it's a total mouthful, but the name actually tells you exactly what's going on. You take the nucleus from a regular body cell, that's the somatic cell part, and you literally transfer it somewhere else. It's really a five-step dance. All right, so first, scientists take a normal body cell, like a skin cell, from the animal they want to clone. At the same time, they take an unfertilized egg cell and very carefully suck out its nucleus, basically wiping its genetic slate clean. Then comes the magic part. They pop the nucleus from the body cell into that now empty egg. A tiny electrical zap gives it a little kickstart, telling it, hey, time to start dividing. And finally, that brand new embryo is placed into a surrogate mother to grow, just like any other.
So what do you get at the end of all that? An organism that is a genetic twin of the original donor. Now, here's a really important thing to remember. This isn't a photocopy. It's not a copy of its memories or its personality. It is simply a copy of its DNA.
And this is exactly where the science stops and the massive debate begins. Because on one side, you have people who look at this technology and see an unbelievable medical tool that could save countless lives. And on the other side, you have people who see it as a huge moral threat. So let's dig into the promise side first. What is it about cloning that has so many brilliant scientists and researchers genuinely excited for what's next?
I mean, the possibilities here they're huge. Just imagine a world where there are no more waiting lists for organ transplants because we can just grow you a new kidney using your own cells. Or think about creating genetically identical tissues to study diseases like Alzheimer's or Parkinson's with the precision we've never had before. It could even be our last best hope to save animals on the very brink of extinction. This is the future its supporters are fighting for. And this quote really sums up that whole mindset perfectly. For these researchers, the goal isn't to play sci-fi and replicate people. It's about using a biological process to cure diseases and fix what's broken. It's about the medicine, not the movie plot.
Okay, but that's just one side of the coin, right? Now we have to turn to the other side of the argument and really explore the deep, powerful ethical and social fears that so many people have about all this. The objections are pretty varied, as you can see. But this single biggest concern, accounting for about 40% of the worries, is this idea that in cloning, we're playing God. But right behind that are these really deep anxieties about what cloning would mean for our own sense of identity, and of course, the very real fear of exploitation.
So that playing God argument, it's this really fundamental, often religious belief that humans just shouldn't be in the business of artificially creating life. Then you've got this philosophical minefield around individuality. Would a clone be seen as their own unique person, or would they just be a copy? This leads right into those sci-fi nightmare scenarios, fears of cloning people just for their organs or creating a class of designer humans. And we can't forget the very real animal suffering in the early days of this research, which had incredibly high failure rates and led to a lot of health problems.
So all of this, it all boils down to one single, kind of chilling question. If we ever were to clone a human being, are we creating a person with all the rights and dignity that entails? Or are we just manufacturing a product?
Now, you might think this is all just philosophy, but it's not. This intense debate has shaped actual laws and policies all around the world.
So where does society actually draw the line on this stuff right now?
Well, globally, a pretty clear line has been drawn, and this distinction is absolutely crucial. Reproductive cloning, that's the one you see in the movies, creating an actual cloned baby, that is banned almost everywhere. But therapeutic cloning, which is creating cloned embryos just for medical research to get stem cells, that is often allowed, though almost always under very, very strict rules.
And that really gets to the absolute core of this whole thing, doesn't it? The science is always going to push forward and show us what's possible, but the ultimate decision of what we actually do with that power, well, that rests with all of us. This isn't just a scientific question anymore. It's a question of ethics, of morality, and it's about the kind of future we want to build. At the end of the day, as technology like this just keeps getting faster and more powerful, the question isn't if we'll face these dilemmas, but when. And that leaves us all with the most important question there is. Where do we draw the line?